We'll go ahead and minute the meeting anyway, because we do have the reports. And I apologize, we've had 2 resignations, and we have 2 people out, so that tells us here. So we'll have to replace the 2 resignations in the next 30 days. So if we would, since it's an unofficial meeting, we can't act on any of these things. We'll just go through the report.
Do the roll call. Larry McDermott.
Here.
Bishop Derek Triplett. Thomas Blond.
Here.
Phil Ellinger. Present. Thank you.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just go through the reports, the Brown Field and the reports from Volusia County, Team Volusia, and we'll just and you and I can talk about the number 7. Okay. Go ahead. You're on, Robert.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Economic Development Advisory Board. Rob Earhart with Volusia County's Economic Development Group. We recently presented to the business community an update on the third quarter 2014. You each have a copy of that. It's also available on our website online at floridabusiness.org under Data and Key Reports. So the only observation I would share with you here today is specific to the city of Daytona Beach for the third quarter of 2014 as compared to the third quarter of 2013. Labor force is up 3%. Employment is up 4.3%. The number of unemployed is down 11%. So I think those are some significant numbers that reflect the general improvement in the economy throughout the county. The only other contributions I'd make here this morning is to let you know November 21st there is an annual meeting of the CareerSource Flagler Volusia Board. It's their annual meeting. That's this Friday as well. New Laos data is due out this Friday, as Phil knows, at 10 a.m. sharp. So you can go online and check it out for yourself, or the News Journal will be calling to report on it for the following day. November 24th, there are a series of interviews taking place in the community. Emory, I believe that includes the city of Daytona Beach, specific to FDOT District 5's development of a corridor management master plan for the US 92 SR 600 International Speedway Boulevard corridor. The plan will coordinate future safety, enhancement, transit, congestion management, and economic development projects within the ISB corridor. It will also include an implementation plan with long-term strategies to guide future development in the project area. And in this case, the project area is defined as Tomoka Farms Road to the west, State Road A1A to the east, Mason Avenue to the north, and Bevel Road to the south. Beyond that, you had previously asked about practitioners meetings, so Team Volusia will be hosting that on Wednesday, the 3rd of December, and the VMA is having their annual awards dinner on December 11th in the 500 Club. It begins at 5:30. It's a 2 to 3 hour event. I think that's also been recently reported on in the News Journal. So
now the practitioners are the local,
Economic developer.
yeah, so Emory and his counterparts, ourselves, Team Volusia, members of the SBDC SCORE.
At our office, second floor. So if you'd like to come, please RSVP, and we'll make sure the security at the building has your name.
Oh yeah, tight security.
Larry.
International Motorsports Center.
What date?
December 3rd.
December 3rd.
If
12 noon.
If you guys would would respond to me as well, then I'll forward it on to Karen.
Okay. Keith?
Sure. We continue to be busy and see an uptick in our prospect activity. First week of November, we were invited to collaborate with NASCAR at the SEMA show, the Specialty Equipment Marketing Association show. We had 7 pre-scheduled appointments with business owners really from the Northeast for the most part, in tool manufacturing, automotive accessories manufacturing, and distribution. They were extremely interested in opportunities here in the southeastern part of the United States, so we continue dialogue with them, and I do appreciate NASCAR actually inviting us and building out space for us to meet with these folks in their exhibit as well as outside of their exhibit. Remaining activities in November include Powering Florida Illumination. That is an event put on by Florida Power and Light. They are bringing in 7 of the top site location consultants from around the country, meeting in Palm Coast. The event actually starts today and will go on till tomorrow afternoon, and I'll be joined by our chair, John Wanamaker. They've invited our chair as well. Pipeline has grown with new Stage 1 leads as a direct result of our outreach. And additionally, we continue to work aggressively with several companies in Stage 3. And of course, our purpose is to put them over in the negotiation stage. But one is a large distribution center researching Daytona Beach and then Southeast Volusia. We continue to work with that. Company is looking at those data points and mulling over the opportunities here in Volusia County. There are other counties in Florida being considered. While we don't actively recruit film and motion picture leads, we are the conduit for Volusia County. We were named by Volusia County as the county's film commission, and we have received a lead from the State of Florida Film Commission actually last week, and took the folks around, and I appreciate Emery helping us and Joanne Magley as well with the county to suggest sites to tour. It's a large production, and we took a lot of time riding around Daytona Beach when they were scouting out locations. They'll be filming in Georgia as well as Florida. We continue our relationship with Enterprise Florida through our participating in the Team Florida Marketing Partnership, and we were pleased that EFI actually won the IEDC Silver Award for the state's first ever unified business marketing program. And that program is actually Florida, the perfect climate for business, to change the perception of Florida from a tourism focused destination to a business destination. And then Boyette Strategic Advisors, both Del Boyette and Tracy Sharp, will come to Volusia County and present the East Volusia County site assessments at a special meeting at the International Motorsports Center on Monday, December 15th. I think you might enjoy seeing the 6 participating cities of East Volusia and 2 sites each, and Emery worked on the choosing the sites for the Daytona Beach assessment. That will be at 1 o'clock, and if you could RSVP to us for that.
It's December 15th?
December 15th, which is a Monday at 1 o'clock. And that's a special meeting. We decided to take it outside of the regular board meeting to include, all of our investors and interested parties here in the community to listen to the assessments. The interesting thing about that is that, as you know, they have done the West Volusia cities last year, 4 cities and 8 sites. They will have done 12 sites on the east side, and that means they've actually met with 10 cities and looked at 20 sites. They have a great grasp of what is here in Volusia County, and they are actually site location consultants. They do this as part of their endeavors, but they do locate companies. So I feel encouraged now that they have a great amount of knowledge with Volusia County and all that we have to offer, that hopefully they will remember us with with a prospect visit in the near future. And then the next board meeting, our next board meeting is December 12th. That's at 9 a.m. That's a Friday at Stetson University. We're still waiting to learn the location at Stetson, subject to the number of people that have RSVP'd. And that ends my report, Mr. Chair.
Now, let me ask you both of y'all a question. With the Trader Joe's facility, it's moving pretty quick. I don't know what date they're thinking about. It's going to be CO'd and be ready for occupancy, but it's going to be, they're moving quick. Is there a way, or are we working on a manner to start making a play on that for other subs in the area? I had dinner last night with 5 of the local real estate brokers, commercial brokers, and they were already seeing some activity with companies that wanted to move in that area, maybe to be service to that facility. Have you seen that or heard that? Or are we marketing that? What's going on with that?
We have seen that. We've worked with actually 1 or 2 suppliers that are interested in supplying work for them. Also, we've played on the size and magnitude of that project for other distribution projects with site location consultants and brokers around the country. Because there was no official press release from the company, we're trying to spread the word about the distribution center and their acceptance of the area as being a great place to distribute product throughout the Southeast. So it's a great example to share with brokers and consultants around the
So
country.
Trader Joe's hasn't given a press release out on the project yet?
No.
Really?
The other contribution in answering your question relates to the agricultural community. The Farm Bureau has been engaged in that very way. It's an opportunity for them as a group and some of their members to become suppliers to Trader Joe's. They're known for their desire to work with local vendors in general, and certainly when it comes to produce and those kinds of items. So,
And at the right time, we hope to do a Farm Bureau presentation to Trader Joe's. Right now, they have a lot of the transportation people coming in, but not the other folks.
the other comment I should make is that Robin King, the president and CEO of CareerSource Flagler Revolution, is actively awaiting input from the company as to what their desired skill sets are and how her organization may be of use or assistance in doing the hiring. As you know, the projected number is 450.
Kind of late, isn't it? I mean, that's.
They don't have any stores yet to supply.
Oh, they don't have support supply.
But they're still building
I didn't know they didn't
their
have any
store
stores
network. They're still building their store
I thought they
network.
had one in Stanford, or not Stanford, Seminole.
Winter Park,
they got one
Tampa,
in
St. Pete, Naples,
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
So it's, well,
So we get the chicken before the egg?
it's a big puzzle for somebody else.
I'm excited to see the panels go up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean.
I almost wrecked the car on 95.
I was there for the pour. Lucille and I were coming back from a trip, and the pour was at 1 o'clock in the morning. We were driving up this, we would get to the house, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We were like 6 trucks waiting, and they just come in, and another one goes back to the ready mix plant. So it was neat.
Great
All right,
project.
I appreciate that, and I think things are really moving and looking up, and I mean, we went through 5 or 6 years of some pretty bad news. This is really good. I know you both have worked real hard in getting and making our area more receptive to development and these types of projects. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We'll go right to Brownfield. There's no, Carol's not here to do the Volusia Volunteers of Medicine. There's nothing going on in the Fentress Park issue yet. So Mike Snapseller, would you like to do your presentation, and then after that we'll adjourn? Thank you, Michael. Michael's here bright and early, getting all the production done. It was good.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Michael Schnapsteller with Cobb Coal, 149 South Bridgewood Avenue, Daytona Beach, here today on behalf of Nova Road LLC, who are the owners of the property that is the former Tire Kingdom, set up on the corner of Mason and Nova here in Daytona Beach. And some of you may remember I was here last year presenting on two car dealerships that enter into the Brownfield program, and one of the requirements of the statute is one, a property is entering into the program, there is a requirement to create an advisory board, meet with that advisory board, describe what's going on out at the property, and open up the floor for any comments or input from the community. And so that's what we're here doing today. You do have a copy of the PowerPoint in front of you. I have some extra copies here and some handouts if anyone else needs it. But basically today we'll be talking about the program in general, just to give everybody a refresher. We'll talk about the advisory board requirements. As a result of city action, I think 3 or 4 years ago, this advisory board was named the advisory board for any brownfield site that enters into the program within the city limits of Daytona Beach. So that's where your authority comes from. If you don't like the responsibility, I guess you can blame Emory and the City Commission for that. And we'll then get into a little bit of specifics on the property itself, what the environmental issues are out there, what the redevelopment plan is, and then how the Brownfield program fits in. So what is a brownfield? Brownfields come from a federal definition that was adopted by state law. It's a property that's having trouble being redeveloped because of actual or perceived environmental issues. It's that property out there that you know is contaminated, has an environmental issue out there, or it's that abandoned property that's been sitting there that no one wants to touch because there's a perception that something could be wrong. And so what Florida law allows local governments to do is to empower the communities and provide opportunities for redevelopment, economic incentives, and recovery of costs by designating a brownfield area. That is defined as one or more brownfield site, some of which may or may not be contaminated, that's been adopted by the local government in a resolution. That's exactly what's happened here. The city has what's called the Central Business Corridors Economic Enhancement Area. That's a brownfield area that this property on the corner of Mason and Nova is located within. So after a local government designates a brownfield area, a party enters into what's called a brownfield site rehabilitation agreement. It's a voluntary negotiable contract that talks about how someone is going to move forward within the brownfield program. Like I said, it's voluntary. You can negotiate the terms, how specific, how detailed you want to get about what work will be done, but it does require that the cleanup occur in accordance with the general rules in Florida law, which is Chapter 62-780 of the Florida Administrative Code. In exchange for doing that, you get some pretty significant economic development incentives and also some regulatory criteria, some regulatory benefits as well. One of the main benefits for entering into the Brownfield program is the availability of the bonus refund for job creation. It's a $2,500 tax credit per new full-time equivalent job created out at the site. That incentive can be stacked with the Enterprise Zone QTI program. With the QTI program and the Enterprise Zone program for up to $10,500 per job. What's unique about this tax refund is that they don't care what type of industry the job is in. It just has to be a full-time equivalent, 30-hour-a-week job with some type of benefit. So it makes it desirable for any type of business coming in. It doesn't have a specific wage requirement. There's also a loan guarantee program, so you get state-backed loan guarantees of 50% of certain development costs and 75% if you're going to affordable housing or a healthcare facility. So being able to go to a bank and saying, you know, your loan is going to be guaranteed by the state up to 50% or 75% is a pretty nice incentive. And then if someone's moving forward with some type of affordable housing or mixed-use project, there's actually a sales tax credit on building materials. So saving 7.5% on your building materials for a new project is a pretty nice incentive as well.
What qualifies as a healthcare facility?
It is
For something like that?
it is a pretty broad definition.
Okay.
I mean, we've even seen some supermarkets qualify as healthcare facilities because they have pharmacies in them, places where you can, get your blood pressure checked or meet with someone on site. We know that assisted living facilities, walk-in clinics, doctors' offices, a wide variety of uses fit into a healthcare facility.
So a CVS or Walgreens or something like that
Might be able to qualify, absolutely, yep.
Okay.
So,
Sorry for the interruption.
oh, no problem, no problem. More along the lines of something I'm concerned about as an environmental lawyer, a lot of the regulatory incentives. Is the government going to slow up the cleanup, or is it going to push this through? And the Brownfield program is designed to push it through, to recognize that redevelopment is happening. You don't want government to get in the way. You want to get the cleanup done right, but not slow this down. It's not an enforcement scenario, it's a voluntary cleanup. And so I mentioned before the regulatory framework for cleanup, but what you also have added is what's called expedited technical review. Typically, you submit your reports into DEP about the cleanup, about the work you're doing. They may sit on them for 60, 70 days and get back to you. And the Brownfield program, that we're required by law to look at the Brownfield program reports first. That means the cleanup happens faster. It's not going to slow down the redevelopment. Can move things forward. I can tell you on a couple of local projects, we've had large contamination assessment reports or remedial action plans approved within 15 to 20 days. Pretty impressive. Liability protection is another important consideration, especially in the real estate and lending industry. The Brownfield program provides liability protection in the sense that you cannot be sued for property damage claims or to compel cleanup if you enter into the Brownfield program. One of the major concerns with taking an environmental project on is the risk that some neighbor, some other person might see you coming in with deep pockets and want to sue you. You're affecting my property values, you're not doing the cleanup right. As long as you're following the requirements of your Brownfield agreement, you cannot be sued for those types of claims. That's a new change in the law that took effect actually in July. And the other financial incentive that really helps make this affordable is what's called the Voluntary Cleanup Tax Credit Program. Folks that enter into the Brownfield program and complete their cleanup get tax credits of 50% of the cost each year they spend on a cleanup. So if you spend $100,000, you'll get a tax credit for $50,000 that next year. And then once you finish your cleanup, you get an additional 25%. So you can get pretty close to 75% of your cost back. If you have an affordable housing or healthcare facility or provider, you get an additional 25%. And for the person who finds an undiscovered landfill on their property, there's also a 50% solid waste removal credit as well. And the big example that I have on that is there's a guy in Apopka who was building a stormwater pond just for a warehouse facility, thought it was undeveloped property, found one tire, found two tires, and then found 88,000 more buried tires. He basically bought a tire graveyard back there. And I guess what ended up happening was the state had set up this program in the 60s or 70s to create artificial reefs using rubber, and realized that didn't work too well. Used that property to dump all those extra tires and really didn't tell anyone about it. So the guy was able to enter into the Brownfield program and at least receive 50% of those costs to remove those tires back and build his stormwater pond. So it incentivizes the cleanup. Someone comes in and may have some significant expenses, and this is a good way to recover those costs. Those tax credits are transferable, so even a nonprofit or a local government can get involved in the cleanup and get some cash back for the money they're spending.
Mike, what tax structure do you have to have in order to get this? You have to be a C Corp?
Nope, no tax structure at all. It's a state income tax credit, but it's transferable.
State income tax.
But it's transferable. So about 95% of the tax credits that are awarded end up getting transferred to basically out-of-state companies that have Florida income tax
And so they sell
liability.
them basically?
They sell them for about 85 to 90 cents on the dollar.
Okay, that's what I was figuring. Okay.
Yeah, there's a tax credit broker out of Massachusetts who probably sells most, if not all of these. They're pretty good at it. They bundle them together to get a lot of the big box retailers that have Florida income tax liability, some tax credits. They're always looking for these. They sell out every year. This is one of the only state income tax credits that actually are transferable. So it is pretty attractive, the market. I did want to provide just some economic development figures on the Brownfield program. Local governments have designated more than 362 Brownfield areas. More than 175 voluntary agreements have been entered into. 7 of those have been in Volusia County. 65,000 confirmed and projected direct and indirect jobs have been created in Brownfield areas, and approximately $2.5 billion in capital investment has been made. These figures are as of 2013, the beginning of 2013. I will let you know this has been a record year for the Brownfield program. Anticipate those numbers going up pretty significantly when the calendar year ends. But as you can see, a lot of work has been done in brownfields all over the state, and we're doing what we can to, get that going here in Volusia County as well. There are a few success stories here in Daytona Beach. Some of you may recall that Embry-Riddle's Technology Park, the 133 acres off of Clyde Morris over there, had some environmental issues. We put that into the program. Received our no further action letter about 3 years ago. So it's a clean closure, no environmental issues out there. They're ready to be redeveloped. Right here across the street, the Williams Square project, you see the townhomes going up on the corner of Palmetto and Magnolia Avenue. That was the first brownfield site in Daytona Beach that also has been closed out, which has allowed the development there to occur. Some pretty nice project coming in by Jack White and Chris Chalice. You also have the 2 Lloyd and Massey car dealerships on Beach Street that have been, you've seen the buildings have come down. There's been a lot of soil digs going on out there. The property owner is actively trying to find someone to come in and put that redevelopment together. But considering where the property was at this point 2 years ago, the Brownfield program has really helped move it forward, with the demo work that's been done, the removal work, and get that property ready for redevelopment when someone does come in. So those are your Daytona Beach success stories. I just want to remind you all of the Brownfield Advisory Board requirements. It's set up to increase public participation, to receive comments on the cleanup and redevelopment, and also to facilitate knowledge of employment opportunities as the redevelopment occurs. So that's kind of your all's role as the advisory board. For this site, you're the advisory board for the car dealerships. You were the advisory board for Embry-Riddle about 5 or 6 years ago. So I need to notify you of the intent to enter into the Brownfield program, which we're doing today. I have a draft copy of the Brownfield Site Rehabilitation Agreement that I'm going to give to Emery to put into the record. And then once that gets executed, I'll make sure he gets a final copy. So that's done as well. And then throughout the cleanup process for this property, I'll come back occasionally to provide a progress update. Here's the Tire Kingdom property right there. You all know the area, I'm sure, pretty well. Corner of Mason and Nova. That's an aerial view. This is a kind of a close-up coming north on Nova Road. It's a pretty interesting property.
That may be the last picture in this one may be the last picture in your
Yeah,
thing.
it's the last picture in your packet.
Mike, you know what the total area of that project is?
Yeah, the site itself is a little bit under an acre. It's 0.9
Okay.
acres, but the property owner does own some of the surrounding properties around it as well. It's been a Tire Kingdom, I think, since the early 80s. It's been there a long time. And some recent environmental investigations uncovered some concerns, mainly that the hydraulic lifts that have been there for years were just cemented in place with concrete poured over them. So what that means is no one can get underneath them to test the soil and groundwater until those lifts are removed from the property. And so there's a concern because each of those lifts are serviced by a little 50-gallon tank, and there were 8 or 9 lifts all going through there. That if there were, any of the integrity of those tanks were breached or anything like that, may have caused some contamination to spill out into the soil or into the groundwater. So there really is a need to take a look at what's happened there, where those lifts were, what's going on under the site, and see if there are any environmental issues. We discovered that by completing a phase 1 and a phase 2, and then determining that the hydraulic lifts were partially removed from the site before Tire Kingdom abandoned the property. So the additional environmental investigation is going to focus on those hydraulic lifts as an area of concern at the site. The BISRA, the Brownfield Site Rehabilitation Agreement draft that I just provided for Emory, does require us to go out and do that site assessment of that area. We're going to do that in accordance with Florida law and anticipate starting that work after the first of the year, after we enter into the program, because it's set up to recover your costs on an annual basis. You have to get the work done in the calendar year so that you can apply the next year. So because it's close to the end of the year, it just makes sense to wait and not rush that work and risk not being able to recover those costs. That process specifically involves doing that site assessment. If there are impacts to the soil and groundwater, we prepare what's called a remedial action plan. We get that approved by DEP, we implement it, and then you would do some type of post-remedial confirmatory sampling, monitoring to prove to the government that there are no longer any environmental issues out there. As far as the redevelopment of the property, there is a proposed project coming in. Unfortunately, cannot disclose what that is at this point, but I can tell you based on the land use, it will be some type of commercial retail development. It's in the business automotive use, which allows a wide range of uses, office, retail, service, even limited residential in the business automotive use. So it's a pretty flexible category, but I think folks will be generally happy with what's proposed when we come in and meet with city staff and get going on that. And that's it. More than happy to answer any questions or comments that anyone has from the board, from the invited guests, from the public. If I can, just say that, the Brownfield program is a great way to take these properties, these abandoned gas stations, these former automotive uses, former industrial uses, and really incentivize someone to come in and make something happen there. So.
Do we need to take action here before it goes on, or what?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
we're not doing that.
Just here to let you all know and answer any questions or take any comments back to the property owners that you all may have.
Okay,
So,
we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, since we are without a forum today, I do want to talk a little bit about number 7, about the Eggs and Issues program. Are you going to try to approach the mayor tonight?
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I just got redirected, so I'm going to have.
No, you guys go on. Yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Thank you
I
so
apologize.
much,
That
Mr.
you-
Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
To all of you.
Yep,
Happy Thanksgiving.
thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, just to clear item number 6, I'm going to ask Dennis Morozak to appear before the board next time. He'll give a kind of a year-end
Sure.
report. Okay,
That's fine.
Just to clear that. Eggs and Issues, yes, we have a request in to the mayor. We're awaiting a reply.
How about the news journal? Do we have them yet?
We do not. Let me know the parameters of who you want on this
Well,
program.
we usually have the news journal, right?
Yeah.
This year, we could, because the economic news in Daytona has been pretty good, we could do that. Anybody else have any suggestions? You want to, remember last time we focused on the motel industry, and that was pretty well attended. This time, we were kind of looking at seeing if the mayor wanted to make the state of the city comments. And Ormond Beach, that's a huge deal. If you've ever been to Ormond Beach, state of the city, he actually makes it Ed makes it the time when he gives out several awards. And that doesn't have to be here, but that's what he does. And it's a very well attended luncheon in Ormond. I don't think Port Orange has anything. I don't think they ever have.
When is that held? I'd like to attend that
What's that?
in Ormond.
Oh,
If you-
that
if-
was about a month ago.
About a month ago. Okay, just if we have the mayor's state of the city and the news journal report, That might be about
No,
the,
that's about it.
that's about it.
That's all we'll have time for.
All right, so I am already working on the mayor. I will contact the News Journal and work on that as well.
Yeah, that's, what's her name?
It was Bates at one
Before she
time.
got married.
Oh, Laura Camel Baker, yeah, and then there was another lady, Bates too.
Yeah, Thompson.
Baruby, but
She got married.
got married, it was Bates.
Okay. All right, so if you can do that, I appreciate it, and, do you need some assistance talking to the mayor tonight, or what? Or you
No,
need to buy her?
the ask is already in.
Huh?
The ask is already in.
Okay. All right, but I didn't know if he needed a forum or some type of to do that, because again, it's a fairly well-attended event normally, around about 100 people, so, I didn't know if he was wanting to do that here, like a commission meeting, or what he had envisioned. So, yeah, so we need to, we need to find that out, so it would be good. Let's chat for just a second while we're sitting here as far as members on this board. We need two members. Do you have somebody in your zone you'd like to nominate?
I haven't investigated it yet, but
Would you do me a favor and think about that? There's a couple people I wanted to ask, but I'm not sure where they live. That's the problem. They work here in the area, and the taillights go north and south, so that's the problem. It was Tim evidently moved to Ormond Beach, and still works in the city, but lives in Ormond Beach now. So
If I might add, the proper way for us to do this would be to canvass those persons and ask them to submit an application to our city clerk's office.
I understand. Yeah, no, I understand that.
It would also help if the city commissioners were, maybe you can make a request, or we can make a request that they come up with some folks in their districts. I mean, a lot of the county stuff, as you know, is by that. So. When talking to each other.
I do have a name, actually a person in your zone, Ruth Dale Hoyerman. He lives in that zone 1, and he's expressed an interest in serving in the past. He's a realtor, so could take Tim's spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dale Hoyerman, you know Dale.
yes.
He ran for office a couple years ago.
2 years.
Yeah.
Emery, what is this layout? I mean, a realtor and a this and a that. What are those things? Or is that important or not important?
It is important. I'll have to send you that. I'll send you that in between the meeting, maybe the next afternoon or day.
Yeah, because that would help in terms of
Yeah,
if you're
I'll send you that.
considering people.
Well, I also.
Ruth, what position did you serve as?
Well, I was kind of two hats. I was business and culture.
Okay.
I don't even know what I am.
Well, I was
Forget what
president
you were.
of-
Forget what you are.
Present.
Well, the other thing, Emery, if we can, if it's possible, rather than, if we know we're not going to have a quorum, in other words, we've got 5 people here, we know that 2 people are not going to be here, I'd much rather cancel the meeting, rather than have all these folks come in, because
It's not fair to them.
it's not fair to them to come and talk to 3 people.
I just got the notice regarding, I got a call from Bishop Triplett this morning.
Okay. We need to maybe,
And I got notification Carol wasn't going to be here on yesterday afternoon. So it's up to the minute.
Well, Rob Earhart always bugs me why I don't get to the Q meetings, which are on Friday morning, and you probably go because you get free breakfast and whatever, but the perfect analogy is that I play tennis on Friday mornings. And if I go to the Q meeting and don't show up at tennis, there's 3 people who are standing around who have nothing to do. And it's exactly the same when people wait the last minute, don't show up, and you don't have a quorum. So it's really not fair.
we need to
Those who are-
verbally speak to them. the day before or whatever, somehow, and get their buy-in, whether they're gonna be here or not. Because most people know they're gonna be somewhere, you know, business people do, you know, the morning before. Because, you know, it's, to me, slightly embarrassing. Because, you know, we have 3 people here, and these guys are busy. They've got something to do. They could be doing lots of other things.
Just as a note, the report this morning does not have to be voted on. All we have to do is hear it.
Well, I understand, but still, it's much, I'm not admonishing you. I'm just asking you, please, to try to contact these people starting the Monday before the meeting and get their buy-in. If we don't have, if they don't call you, then I would just say they're not gonna be here, and we just cancel the meeting. Because we have to have 4 people. It just.
And unexcused, was it 3 unexcused absences?
That's all we need is another vacancy, so let's.
No, I'm not saying that, but the rule, you know, if we're talking about it and it's
Yeah.
informal.
It's just,
I mean, that is what the thing is. I try to pay attention.
I mean, city commissioners know when their meeting is, and they are voted by the electorate to be there, and they're there. We're volunteers, and so things happen in our lives that it causes, but generally speaking, I know what I'm doing Monday and Wednesday, you know, for Wednesday, I know Monday what I'm doing. You know, that's how you see it.
Yeah, our biggest challenge right now, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Larry, but we just need to fill these 2 seats.
Oh, I know,
Of
we're
course,
gonna do that.
Ruth, you couldn't prepare for it because we wouldn't know the outcome of the election until it happened. So that just happened. And,
I know.
yeah, you know, and Tim's resignation just happened, so they both happened at the same time, correct?
Yes.
So we just need to scour out, there's plenty of people out there that want to serve on boards, so we just have to.
Are there any applications on file?
There are a few applications on file.
Well, we'll go, enough said, we'll go, but if we can.
Do we want to have questions, citizen comments?
Yeah.
Do I have to go on?
I have no business.
You have any business?
Ruth Traeger, 610 Bostwick Avenue. I have another question. I heard about the farm tour. Do you know anything about that?
The what tour?
Farm tour?
I don't
The farm
recall.
tour
I
that
saw the
was mentioned
schedule.
by
It was in
Rob
the News
Earhart?
Journal
Okay. And
last week.
where is the Eggs and Issues program supposed to be?
It's gonna be at LPGA.
Yes.
Thank you.
We were trying to do it at one of the city facilities, but it was gonna cost more.
Thank you.
That's it? Oh, easy question.
Thank you.
At least you got some public.
Yes, we did.
Okay, there are no being, you
Well,
have
I'm
any
just going to let you all realize, in case for those who didn't, that for the Friday night at 7 o'clock, this open house at Embry-Riddle with a new telescope.
Oh, really?
They have 2. They've had one a month ago.
Oh, it's
This
clear.
one, they're not going to do it again until spring. But they will have an open house. 7 o'clock, they have like a lecture. And then 8 to like 10 o'clock, they have all their telescopes open because they've got like a dozen different telescopes, including the new great big one. And you can just sort of go up to the top of that new building, which is that new building with the telescopes on
Yeah.
top of it. And they're very good about it. The last program, they take people up in groups. So to go through telescopes so that everybody gets a chance to look at the
Wow.
telescopes and play and do whatever. It's really a worthwhile thing.
When is this?
Friday night, 7 o'clock is the lecture. They talk all about their program, and then the actual viewings and stuff are from 8 to 11 or 8 to 10 or something. 8 to 11. And I checked the weather this morning, and with this nice big cold front, it's going to be crystal clear on Friday night.
Ah,
Have you done it before?
I went to the first one. I may go back again. It was so much fun. I got yakking with somebody, and I didn't get to see the one. So.
do you actually look at like celestial bodies?
Yeah, they have all the, they have the other telescopes, they've got like another dozen fairly good-sized telescopes that the students use, and they have them all set up so you can go look and see whatever you want to see.
It's
It's kind
not,
of fun.
it's not Mount Palomar, but, you know, it's pretty good.
It's pretty cool, whatever it is, 1 meter, 39-inch mirror on the big one, the new one.
Wow.
What's most impressive is that building,
Yeah.
the telescope structure
Yeah, it looks weird. Wow.
The telescope structure is separate from the rest of the building. It's within the building, but it's separate. The telescope structure goes all the way to the ground, the house is a telescope.
Oh, no.
And it's not tied, the building goes around it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has to be completely set and set into the ground so that the normal working of the building and vibration doesn't affect it.
Wow.
So it was quite a construction job when they did that.
Wow. When is your bank opening? Oh, we got a lot of stuff happening right now. I mean, we need
Well,
to
the official opening until January. But we're already taking some people in, and it's not fully functional, or the electronics aren't there, but all the furniture's in there, the building's finished.
It looks
building
close.
is-
I mean, I drive by it twice a day, so.
It's not open, no, we're just taking some groups, I took a group in there last night, and we had some hors d'oeuvres and wine, cheese type of stuff, and you know, just did a walkthrough. It's not functional because the electronics aren't functional.
Right. Okay.
So, and it is we're the only bank in the area with a wine bar.
Nice.
All right.
That's more European-esque, you know. I
I
used to do mergers and acquisitions when I worked for a Fortune 500 company, and we were looking at a company in London to purchase, and you know, we were meeting with English investment bankers,
Yeah.
you know, and at 4 o'clock, a butler comes in with a cart with beer and wine and drinks and hard liquor and everything. And I mean, it was like, you know, it's time to, and they did that every day. At 4 o'clock, it was time to partake.
It's very civil.
Very civil. But, you know, I mean, something we couldn't do here. You know, before we break up, I'm sure you're going to hit the gavel here in a second. But with all the stuff that's happening, you know, that we've seen in the paper just this week, with them getting ready to break ground at the Daytona 1, and of course the Speedway project, and with Trader Joe's, and now this latest announcement that this developer is buying 1,600 acres
Right.
out there on LPGA.
Yeah.
LPGA, it's 3,000 homes.
Yeah, and Rick Wells, who works
whole
with
city.
me, was the national residential lender for PNC. And he's worked with those guys. He said they're the real deal. They are absolutely, when they're going to do a project, they do it and they do it right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole new town. Is that
Yeah.
that's in the city, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing to say. You know, it's very nice.
Well, it's going to bring on other things besides
Yes.
that,
Oh,
because
sure.
that area has been crying for retail,
Mhm.
because there's no retail out there. So I think the next thing you might see is some retail plans. And of course, you know, our last census had us losing 5,000 residents in Daytona Beach from the prior census. So with that development happening, 3,000 homes and presumably 2 people in a house, at least it's going to be a 50.
2.1 or something like that.
Huh?
It's 2.1 or whatever.
Well, it's 55 plus, so you have to
Who's
assume
Who's counting?
two people plus pets. But you know, that would be one of our first real big projects that's going to add population to the city of Daytona Beach. That's a big deal.
Well, there's 2 national builders and 1 local builder building out LPGA in that area. You got KB, you got Horton, and you got Carver. You know, all 3 of those are really blowing.
Adams is out there too.
Adams, I forgot Adams. Yeah.
Yeah, you got Adams out there
Yeah,
too.
so I mean, you got some folks out there that, and it's working. You know, it's going strong. Grand Champion. Look how long that thing stood out there and sat out there with platted lots and nothing happening. Now it's just blowing and going.
Yeah. The other the things that were in the paper today that interesting, of course, is that it looks like the 2 hotel projects will be breaking ground. And of course, we'd all heard rumors that, oh, it's not going to happen, they're never going to do it, this, that, and the other thing. But it sure looks like there's going to be backhoes in that, breaking that ground.
Well, the Russians already demolished the old Eckerts.
Right.
It used to be Ocean Water.
Ocean Water's headquarters.
The headquarters. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know if we want to, for the eggs and issues thing, maybe part of the presentation should be a list of all these things so that people are aware of how much and you know, values and things like that? What do you think, Evan?
You know what I would like to see? I don't know how we do it.
Like the listing that we're thinking about having Dennis talk about in this meeting, have maybe that kind of a on a poster.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, this is monumental for Daytona Beach, everything that's happening. It is really, I mean, I'm here 22, almost 23 years. You're here, what, your whole life?
60.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, it's,
Where the convergence of so many projects all coming to fruition in 2016, 2017? It's huge.
no, I've never seen it.
And this stuff is, you know, and we know, you know, as economists, we know that this has a nuclear fission sort of effect. One brings two, and two bring four, and so on and so forth.
Well, you know, we've lived around several projects in my lifetime. I'll get a doctor's appointment, so I guess excuse here a minute.
Right.
But one of them was the Hilton, which was Marriott. And they thought that was going to start spurring a lot of development. And then Ocean Walk in that area. And it helped, but it never pushed out from there, okay? And now I can see these are starting, I mean, you look at the folks that bought the Desert Inn, they bought several properties and done, you know, fairly good renovations on them. The guy's name is Abbas. Have you
Yeah.
met him yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, Abbas is, I met him one time. Jeff Brock is his attorney, and Jeff introduced me to him. And these guys, they were in the computer industry, and nobody knows why they decided they live in Sanford, and they just decided to come in this area and start developing. And I mean, that Desert Inn product that pushes out, and that's going to be a quality hotel. It's going to mean a lot in that area, and you see that area starting to pick up. Now we need that area right around ISB, between ISB and Silver Beach and Old South. And once that picks up, that whole beachside Daytona will literally look nice.
Yeah. I have one suggestion for the eggs and issues, in addition to that, is since the Speedway announced that Daytona 1 is starting, maybe we can give them a little bit of a forum at the Eggs and Issues to speak about that.
It's a good idea.
Invite the track to come and maybe do a little visual or some kind of presentation.
Yeah.
I did smile when Mike was doing this, Emery and you will recall that when they originally came up, that's the reason that we have a brownfield here in Daytona, was because when they originally came up with the One Daytona concept, they wanted the brownfield to be able to get a tax credit. Because people don't think of it, and I didn't think because Mike wasn't around then, but you and I remember, they wanted the brownfield. We went through all the original with Houston. At the time, he usually did the presentations, because for every retail job they put in there is $2,500 tax credit. That's in that brochure.
That's right.
And that was why we have a brownfield here. If it wasn't for their support at the time, the city commission probably wouldn't, because it was pioneering for our area. Orlando was way ahead of us in doing it, but we were the first. Daytona was the first, and they gave us the support to do that. But of all the cities in the east side, Daytona and Deland, Daytona was the first to get involved in the brownfield program.
Right.
And but they think that's a lot of money when you think about it, $2,500 tax credit for every retail job when they're talking the number of people that's involved. And that
when
includes Trader
they're talking
Joe's
about
in that district.
And then you can stack it also with QTI.
And Trader Joe's is in it.
Yeah.
So
Trader Joe's is in it. Yeah.
that's a whole,
Oh, yeah.
virtually what we
That's the
did.
Arrow Park brownfield.
Virtually what we did at the time, if you remember, is we took took the whole city limits and went right around. Virtually the entire city is in a brownfield, except for certain area, just a few areas where people chose not to. But virtually our whole city is a brownfield area, which means that every retail development is entitled to, or every development in the city,
Well,
just about.
Here's the law change, though. Governor Scott, I think in May 17th, a couple of years ago, signed into law that unless you could find contamination or you were adjacent to a contamination, you could not get the.
Taking
brown-
the anticipated, but that's.
Can we just take a big hole, throw some tires in there?
It's really.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you,
spill a
guys.
quart of oil.